Good morning. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to be part of this magnificent participation and magnificent conference. Today is a very urgent topic, especially in the South countries. Let me start first by saying that why states and governments go for debt. They go for debt because they would like to invest in infrastructure, they would like to invest in health, education, defense, and security. And because of scarcity of resources, they go for debt. And when governments and states decide to go for debt, they cannot resist the temptation of an open credit card. And once you use your credit card, you think that it's an easy money. You still lend, you still borrow, then you get stuck in the debt crisis. Once you get stuck in the debt crisis, you are under colonialization, which means that you are under the guardianship of your lenders. They tell you what to spend, when to spend, where to spend. This is the guardianship. But let me focus more on the relationship between the sovereign debts and human rights, which is the core of rule of law. Let me start by giving you the example of the European debt crisis, the Greek crisis. When Greece went into a debt crisis, it became under the guardianship of the Troika group, who controlled the country. Then everything has been under this control. Even court orders have been sidelined. Nothing is applicable other than the Troika's decisions and directions because Greece has become inefficient in managing their debts. So they had to obey, they had to follow the directions of their creditors. In this example, the government has violated lots of constitutional things. Also, many courts' decisions have been sidelined, like when workers go for the courts to call for pensions, to call for decreasing taxes or whatsoever, these courts' decisions have been sidelined. So where is the independence of the courts? One more thing is the Argentinian debt crisis. When Argentina got stuck with debts, then their bonds treaties were under the New York law. Then Argentina's sovereign debt was controlled by a court in New York that says what to pay and how to pay these things. Can you imagine that a sovereign state's debt is governed by a court in New York? This was one of the reasons why there had been many resolutions by the United Nations to solve the issue of sovereign debts. One more example is the example of Jamaica, the example of Zimbabwe, the example of Lebanon, the example of Syria. So those are really examples. So when you got stuck in the debt, this means that your creditor will tell you, please, could you increase taxes and fees because you have to pay. There are deadlines that you have to meet. You have to decrease your expenditures on health, on education. You have to increase the fees of resorting to courts. You have to increase the fees. You have also to control the courts when courts give decisions regarding to the rights of the workers or compensations against the government. You have to give them directions not to make so as not to make the budget collapse. So what does rule of law means in this issue? The last thing that I would like to focus on, because I intended to be short and concise as much as I can. Here in the state of Gandhi has adopted the policy of non-cooperation. But I tell you that there have been some suggestions when countries or governments got stuck in debts that you have to oppose these governments and you have to start this kind of opposition against them. But this does not solve the issue, because even if the government has collapsed or has left, the state or the people are still stuck with the debt, because you cannot leave that debt. You have to leave it. You have to pay it. Otherwise, you will not be paid again by your creditors. Moody's will reclassify you and degrade your standard. So you have to pay it. So better than opposition or non-cooperation with the government, we have to assist them by guiding them as lawyers and tell them what are the results of getting stuck in this kind of debt crisis, because it will not affect only the government. It will also affect the population. Thank you for your time, and thank you for your listening to me.
Thank you, Dr. Mohamed Hassanein. I particularly found your illustration of the spending spree on the credit card, comparing it with the debt crisis, very interesting. Thank you.